I do not believe that any of us have dreams that were not given to us for the purpose of accomplishing those particular dreams. And I want to share something with you that has changed my life. I started out, as was indicated by Jack, it's very humble beginnings. I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know, that that dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. Let's say that together, please. Say, it's possible. See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible that I can have my dream as we run toward it, as we work on it day in and day out. No one, ladies and gentlemen, could have convinced me when I started out just over 6 years ago working on my dream. And I want you to think about whatever your dream is, because I was willing to take a chance, and most people won't do that. Most of the people that you talk to try and bring them into the business, these are not risk takers. Most people have done all that they're ever going to do. They raise a family, they earn a living, and then they die. But people who are running toward their dreams, life has a special kind of meaning. And here's what I will share with you, that in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you will realize is that you have greatness within you. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine. What you will realize is that you're greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. As Jack indicated, I was born in Miami, Florida, in an area called Liberty City, in an abandoned building on a hard linoleum floor with my twin brother. We were 6 weeks of age. We were adopted. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. I don't have any college training, but I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you. And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, it doesn't matter, follow my directions now. I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, because I'm educable, mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that man, Mr. Leroy Washington, did something for me. He started planting seeds in my mind that enabled me to begin to dream, as Dexter has been doing for you. And ladies and gentlemen, I started working on my dream. And most people don't work on their dreams. Why? For many years I didn't. One is because of fear. The fear of failure. What if things don't work out? And the fear of success. What if they do and I can't handle it? The other thing is that most people, ladies and gentlemen, they get comfortable. They stop growing. They stop working on themselves. They stop stretching. They stop pushing themselves, and they end up becoming very cynical about life, and they throw in the towel on themselves, and on their families, and on their dreams. And the other thing is that most people don't feel worthy. What I'm doing now, I could have been doing years ago. But because I did not have a college education, because I didn't believe in myself, because I allowed other people's opinion of me to control my destiny, I didn't act on my ideas. So I applaud you for your dreaming, for your running toward your dream. I applaud you for believing in yourself, because that's what life is about, stretching and challenging looking for ways that you can begin to improve yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, as a result of stretching out, of acting on my dream, and I don't know what that dream is for you, I can tell you that it's possible. No one could have convinced me that after just over 6 years, I would have my own book entitled Live Your Dreams. Just over 6 years, I would have 5 specials on public television. Just over 6 years, I've done motivational speaking for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, Xerox, IBM, just over 6 years. I will now have my own talk show that will premiere on Monday, Labor Day. I'm saying to you, your dream is possible. Your dream is possible. But not only is it important that you believe and begin to know that it's possible for you to live your dream as you run toward it, but I've done something that I want to share with you called Choosing Your Future. In fact, I've developed a set of tapes talking about how to begin to create your own reality by choosing your future. And not only is it important for you to know it's possible for you to choose your future, but it's necessary that you work on yourself, that you develop yourself. It's necessary that you get the energy drainers out of your life, people who don't want anything, people who are not striving, people who are not challenging themselves, people who aren't growing, people who have stopped dreaming. It's necessary that you align yourself with people and attract people into your business who are hungry, people who are unstoppable and unreasonable, people who are refusing to leave life just as it is and who want more. My mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. If you run around with losers, you will end up a loser. It's necessary that you get the losers out of your life if you want to live your dream. It's necessary to know that everybody won't see it, that everybody won't join you, that everybody won't have the vision. It's necessary to know that a lot of people like to complain, but they don't want to do anything about their situation, that you are an uncommon breed. You know, you have to know within yourself that I can do this. Even if no one else sees it for me, I must see it for myself. That's necessary. It's also, ladies and gentlemen, necessary that you be creative when you're working on your ideas, that you understand the importance of changing up, of readjusting your strategies. Many times we can have a great idea, but if you're not advancing it in the right way and things don't happen, you become discouraged and think the idea doesn't work. No, that's not true. It's necessary that we become creative. I remember when I was in New York walking down the street, and a guy approached me and said, "Hey, mister, can I shine your shoes?" And I said, "No, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time." I kept walking. Someone else said, "Hey, man, your shoes look clutty. May I shine your shoes?" I said, "No, I don't have time. I'm sorry, I'm busy." And I was walking faster, and many people solicited me for my business. And then finally, a young man stepped in front of me, and he said, "Excuse me." And he started counting, 97, 98, 99, 100. He said, "Sir?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come here, please." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Today is my birthday. And every year, just to thank God for another year of life, the 100th person who passes my shoe shine stand, I offer them a free shoe shine. Would you give me the honors?" I said, "Why, sure." I got up on the shoe shine stand, George, and I sat there, and he shined my shoes diligently. And when I got down, I looked at them, they were sparkling. And I was walking away, and I said, "Thank you." And I stopped, I said, "Excuse me, but how much do you usually charge?" He said, "Only $2. I said, "I tell you what, today's your birthday. Here's $5, keep the change." He said, "Thank you." As I was walking away, looking in the opposite direction at other people coming, he started counting again. 97, 98, 99, 100. It's necessary that you be flexible, that you are always thinking of how can I improve this better. This is a customer-driven economy. It's necessary for you to always explore various ways in which you can improve the quality of service that you're providing for the people in your organization. I remember something a major company had talked about the extra value service they were providing for their customers. And the lady who had the news conference summarized it this way. She said, "It's not our intention to satisfy our customers or to please our customers. Our intention is to amaze them." It's necessary, if you're going to compete today, that you look for ways to amaze your customers by being one of those individuals that keep your commitments, that keep your word, that's relentless. It's necessary as you work with the people that you bring into your organization, that they see that you are a good example of a person to work with, because you model integrity and determination and ambition and truth and honesty and the way in which you conduct business. The next step is, that is you. That is you. That no one can do it for you but you. And even though you face disappointments, even though you will experience some setbacks, it goes with the territory. You must understand that. I remember I was playing a game with my 9-year-old son, John Leslie, and I beat him 10 straight games in a game called Connect 4. And finally, I said, "John Leslie, I'm bored. I don't want to play you anymore." And I got up. I said, "I'm ready to go to sleep now." And repeat after me, please. Let's say this together. It's not over until I win. John Leslie said, "No, you can't go now, Dad." I said, "Why?" He said, "It's not over until I win." That was his attitude. We sat down and we played several other games. And finally, after the 11th game, John Leslie won, and he got up and he yawned. And he said, "I'm ready to go to sleep now." And I'm saying to you, what if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up, or somebody say, "You can count on me," and they don't come through? What if we have that kind of attitude? The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, "It's not over until I win."
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control. Hope you enjoy the video.
This coronavirus is bigger than 9/11 or Pearl Harbor or anything we've ever seen before. And on the biggest picture of all, the coronavirus and the coming crash, financial collapse possibly, marks the end of the industrial age and the beginning of the information age. It's a very big move. And the people that are in trouble today are people still stuck in industrial age thoughts. And let me give you an example. The reason London Real and Brian Rose is doing so well is you guys moved on. I moved on. Rich Dad moved on years ago. The people that are having a hard time are called BBC, NBC, CBS, because they're still industrial age and they're going to get crushed. So that's why I'm very happy to talk to you. I love your program. I love your guests, because we've moved on. The people that are struggling financially haven't moved on yet. Those of you at home right now who are sitting going, "But I'm going to lose my job, my house, my pension, and all this," it's because you're trapped with old thoughts. And as most people know, is that, when I came up with Rich Dad Poor Dad 20-something years ago, mainstream media crucified me. They said, "Rich Dad Poor Dad, you don't know what you're talking about." I said, "The rich don't work for money. Savers are losers. Your house is not an asset." And I was crucified, just crucified. And the good news is, as several of your guests have said, the most important thing you can have right now is not job security, but meaningful work. So you and I don't need the money, but our work is meaningful. And it's our meaningful work that gets us through the hard times. So the good news is my company is sold out. we cannot keep up with product. The bad news is the supply chain shut down, but that's a good problem. We have tons of cash. I have gold, I have silver. And I do have challenges in the real estate market, but that's going to make me stronger. That's my only attitude I can have. Otherwise, I just cry and say, well, the government should take care of me. I need a bailout. I need a stimulus. And Brian, you and I know stimulus means welfare for the rich. When I talk to young people, which drives the school teachers, I don't go back to schools anymore because I'm not politically correct. You know what I mean? Okay. So when I used to go to school.
That's why we like you, Robert.
Yeah. So I went back, so when I would explain the Fed to them, I said, well, just think of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. There was the Tin Man, there was a Straw Man, and there was a lion with no heart. And so they thought they could go see the wizard, and the wizard would give them what they asked for. So they prance along the yellow brick road, and they pull back the curtain, and it's a midget back there. This big illusion. And that's Ben Bernanke, Janet Yellen, and this guy Powell, and before that was that other character, I forget his name already. But everybody thinks they're wizards, but they're controlled by grunge, gross universal cash ice. Our wealth is stolen via the money we work for. We need financial education because the real problem of this crisis started back in 1904 when the richest guys on earth took over the education system in the United States. They formed a thing called the General Education Board. It was formed by guys like Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan. And what they pulled out of education was financial education. And so the reason they could rip us off, as you and I know, is via the mechanism of money. And that's why I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was a warning shot across the bow back in 1997. I said, wake up, something's coming down the road. So we're here right now. This is the biggest transformation in the history of the world. It's from industrial age to information age. Brian Rose is doing well because you made the transition. I'm doing well because I made the transition. I'm making more money than ever before. I have problems, but I'm making more money than ever before. But if you're losing money right now, the problem starts in what you were taught in school. Because they never taught you anything about money. They never taught you about a financial statement, like my rich dad did. They teach you that diploma is everything. It's a piece of toilet paper. BS.
And you buy into that mechanism of money, and you believe that is the only thing to focus on. And what you're saying right now with these stimulus packages is all of this money being given, quote unquote, away by the government to everybody is actually devaluing your dollar, it's devaluing your pension, it's devaluing your savings, and it's wiping out businesses. So it's you're dying by this sword.
This is how what Fuller talked about, the prison is inside our head, Buckminster Fuller. It starts with misinformation and misorientation. Misinformation, misorientation. And he says, how dare our schools punish kids for making mistakes? How else do you learn if you don't make a mistake and learn from your mistake? He says, God designed us. I'm not really religious, I'm not preaching here, okay? God designed us to learn by making mistakes. For instance, a baby learns to walk by falling down. Baby learns, to ride a bicycle by falling off the bicycle. Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer ever in history of the world, because he made more mistakes than you and I did. But our schools punish you for making mistakes. 2008, it was, those credit default swaps. It was for residential real estate, so they bailed them out. This next crash is for the hedge funds and private equity that invested in all this commercial real estate. So I have another $100 million project coming out. I just got bailed out. I just got backed up by the Fed and the government. So that's why it's socialism for the rich. Unfortunately, there's capitalism for the poor middle class, those that work for money. You're on your own.
Right.
If you own a small restaurant and you got to let go of your staff, you're no different than your staff right now. The national debt for World War II was $25 billion. Every day today, they're printing $125 billion. Every single day, that's like 5 World War IIs per day. They're printing so much money to keep this think of a hot air balloon with a tear in it. And they're doing desperately trying to fix this tear, but no matter how hard they try, the tear has gone beyond, it's coming down. So in financial terms, it's called our debt to GDP has now gone from 60 to 90 to 105, it's going to 120. we're bankrupt. And they're going to print more and more money, which means savers are losers, just as I predicted. Your money is going to be worthless in a few years. Wow. So my message is the same as some of your other guests. This is metamorphosis time. Financial education, in Rich Dad's terms, is really financial transformation. And the definition of metamorphosis is very important. Metamorphosis, the definition is the evolution or the transformation from an immature form to an adult form. An immature form to an adult form. Metamorphosis is the same as a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And Fuller always said there's nothing to predict a butterfly inside a caterpillar. So everybody listening right now, if you're struggling financially, just think of yourself as a little caterpillar. And this crisis is your cocoon. The question is, what do you emerge as? Do you emerge as a victim? You know, the world did that to me, and the capitalists are crook, and the rich are bastards, and all this stuff? Or do you say, oh, this is the best thing that ever happened to me? The choice is between your head, your heart, your body, your mind, your spirit. That's where the choice, the metamorphosis, the evolution or the transformation from an immature form. You know, mommy, daddy going to take care of me. Mommy and daddy going to pay for my education. The government's going to give me Social Security. I have a 401k. You know, my employer is an asshole. You know, You're going to evolve from that into an adult. That's metamorphosis.
Right. It does sound like a little kid.
If you grow up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, and health-wise, voila, this is the best thing that happened to me. But if you're still a victim, you're not going to make it. The metamorphosis begins when you look in the mirror. And it's just like when I was going to blow this little boy's head off in Vietnam. I said, why am I doing this? You know, why am I going to kill this little 10-year-old boy? And he was a Viet Cong. I mean, I was justified by the rules of engagement to shoot him. But one day I wondered, why am I doing this? And if you're standing in front of the mirror today, you know, with this coronavirus and looming depression, how did I get here is the question. What don't I know? What did my information, education, cultural background, what did not prepare me for today? That's where the transformation of the metamorphosis begins. I mean, you take responsibility. You know, everybody talks about rights, but we have personal responsibilities too. And unfortunately, our university systems have failed us miserably. And the reason for that is every professor wants tenure. That's my whole family. That was the most important thing about getting a job, was tenure, job security for life. And that's what they teach kids without knowing it. They teach kids that life is dangerous and you need to be protected. So they're immature. College professors are some of the most immature. They might be very smart mentally, but immature financially. They can't take care of themselves. So they're teaching kids to be victims. You know, that's why these trigger mechanisms and you can't say words that are hurtful and all this stuff. So they're teaching that you're a victim, you're vulnerable. And what you teach and what I teach is that, hey, don't be a victim, be proactive.
Can you just talk me through a few asset classes and explain kind of what's going on? Because I still think it's important for you to walk us through some basics, Robert, and whether that's real estate or oil or gold and silver, which you call God's money. Maybe you can give us all just a quick education on kind of some of that stuff. And I also heard you talking about something called the US crypto dollar. I don't know, maybe you could define some of those things for us, you know, right now.
Well, gold and silver were here when the earth was formed. Do you know what I mean? It'll be here long after we're gone. It's God's money. God made it. And you know, in our language, it's called counterparty risk. There's no counterparty risk. Your counterparty is God. That's pretty good. That's like a co-signer is God. You know, I mean, the banks will back you up. Oh, who's your co-signer? Oh, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad. You know, okay, we'll give you the money. So gold has that. Now gold goes up and down because the gold market is manipulated. You know, the futures market, the ETF market, GLD, SLV, and then physical gold. So the thing I think is interesting is the price of gold goes down, but you can't buy any gold at the physical market. So the futures market is coming down, the GLD price is coming down, paper market is coming down, but physical, you can't get anything on it. Why? It's because the rich are hoarding it. The rich are hoarding gold and silver like toilet paper and guns. The poor and middle class are calling their financial planner, and the financial planner is telling them to stay in it for the long term. And meanwhile, the rich are getting out. Wake up is my message.
I want to know, when was that moment for you where you drew a line in the sand and was like, okay, like I need to fucking scale this thing up.
2010, man.
Yeah, and tell me a bit about that.
Economy had crashed. I had 3 companies at the time. 2 of them got one of them got like 90% of it was just like, okay. Everything that was left on it but the head, maybe.
Decapitated.
It was it was like, that's all that was left though, was the head, right? Like it was just a look. And then that was a partner's business. And then another company that I had was a consulting company. It was useless. Like it was me popping out on the road, pitching stuff, selling, very transactional. That one got pretty much like just, right here, cut in half. And anybody that was still doing business with me in 2010 was just almost, they were beat up. So everything was decided on price, no contracts, no like, so I had 2 of the 3 businesses. The third business was the real estate. In 2010, you couldn't move a piece of real estate. But the real estate that I had was cash flow real estate. It's all similar to what we buy today, just today's much bigger. Because one thing I realized in 2010 was the real estate that I owned, even though real estate was decimated worldwide, the real estate I owned got us through 2010.
Yeah.
And if it wouldn't have been for that, I'd have gone bankrupt. Like it got me through. Now at the same time, the old saying, when it rains, it pours, right? So I was trying to make a move. I knew I was doing something wrong, right? Between, probably 2004 and even 2001, even earlier, I was like, I'm doing something wrong here, man. I've been in business 20 years. I made some money. I had some money set aside, but I was always worried about the money. I had accumulated a little money. I wouldn't use it for marketing, wouldn't use it for branding, wouldn't use it to scale. I didn't trust that if I invested it, it would come back to me. So I was trying to hold on to it. I was doing what my parents had taught me, right? So I was very much in a trap. But then in 2001, I see all these companies blowing onto the internet and then folding. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I'd push. I'd have this idea to push, and then I'd get scared. Oh, I'm going to get whacked.
And you were already kicking money into property at this stage?
Yeah, but not much. I think I owned 300 or 400 units.
Okay.
Now I had a moment where I had to almost detox off this easy way of doing business.
Okay, so then what did you do?
So now I'm like, okay, I had to sit down and figure out what have I done wrong here? I've done something wrong. Something's not working. It was when you finally hit bottom. When I was 25, I hit bottom with the drug problem, and I hit bottom again. This time I hit bottom, but I had a little money now. It's a similar bottom, and now I'm like, okay, what am I addicted to? I was addicted to easy. I was lazy. I was doing the same thing over and over again. I wasn't recreating myself. I wasn't spending money on marketing. I wasn't learning about the internet and social media. At the same time, I had a lawsuit hit me from this fucking criminal. Same time a bank that I owed money to went under, the bank went under. I didn't go under, the bank did. But when the bank goes under, okay, and you're on the ship, man, the ship going under, everybody's gonna pay a price here. So all those things had me look at, hey, what do I have to do to scale? So who survived 2010? The biggest companies on the planet.
Yep.
They didn't just survive, they prospered. And I'm like, that's who I need to become.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
And you want to know something? It fucking sucks that we have to go get our teeth cleaned at the dentist once a year, and that we can't just have good teeth without that. And it sucks that we have to monitor our diet to stay fit. And it sucks that we have to work hard to produce results. All that just fucking sucks. Why couldn't it be that, you could just be kind of born, and you just kind of have the money given to you and the girls given to you and all this shit. You don't have to do any of this shit. Maybe someday in the future. This is not even inconceivable. We could have a future where with genetic engineering, you're just jacked. You're just fucking jacked. But that's not you. And it didn't happen yet. So until that is you, you have the other fate, which is you're gonna have to hustle. That's your fate. That's just how it is, okay? That's how it is. You're gonna have to actually apply yourself and challenge yourself. That's how it is. Because we're not genetically engineered yet. We don't have a utopian society yet where shit's just given to you.
Run, hike, sprint, climb, build things. Start building things. Rewire things. Do some plumbing. These things are not, they're not impossible to do. Now, it's going to take you longer, right? Like I've rewired my parts of my house. I've replumbed parts of my house, so done all the plumbing in parts of my house. Now, if you watch a skilled electrician do what I'm doing, it would literally take him 1/8 of the time, maybe 1/4 of the time, because, or like the drywaller we were talking about earlier. A good drywaller, they are like masters. A good electrician, masters. A good plumber, they're smooth. Me, it's going to take a while.
Sure.
So, but what I'm saying is it's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's not impossible to do. And it'll take you more time, but you're learning how to do it.
I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen.
I don't really like those words. Self-help or self-management or self-improvement. I don't really like what those words have come to mean these days. Because there's a lot of people out there that are constantly trying to improve themselves by looking for the one change. The one change, right? The one change in their life that's gonna make their dreams come true. And even worse, on top of that, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of self-help gurus and these hyperactive motivational speakers and these other self-appointed modern Zen yoga warriors that they're trying to sell the one thing. They're trying to sell the 9 steps or the enlightened path that's going to allow you to unlock all of your human potential and fulfill the dreams so you can live the life that you've always wanted to live. Now, I'm no guru. And I definitely don't claim to be. I'm just a man. But I will tell you this. It isn't one thing. And it isn't 10 things. And it isn't 100 things. It isn't a quick path. And there are no shortcuts. Meditation won't get you there. And neither will a miracle drug or an organic supplement or some superfood. Getting better isn't a hack or a trick or a one change that you need to make. Getting better is a campaign. It's a campaign. It's a daily, a weekly, it's an hourly fight. An incessant fight that doesn't stop against weakness and against temptation and against laziness. It's a campaign of discipline. It's a campaign of hard work and dedication. It's waking up early and going to bed late and grinding out every second in between. Every single day. So, you want to get better? You want to self-improve? Stop looking for a shortcut and go find your alarm clock and find your discipline. And find your guts and your passion and your drive and find your will.
Grit, fortitude, self-esteem, confidence, the ability to endure. You have to earn these things, okay? We live in a world right now, like we've talked about on the past shows recently, that celebrates victimhood. It's a competition now about who has the biggest challenges, not who's overcome the biggest challenges. And I'm going to tell you right now, the world is going to reward people who overcome the challenges. You might get some claps. You might get some, oh man, that's so hard. You might get some of that shit, but it's not going to change your life. Okay. It's instant gratification shit. you are putting out information to then get instant gratification attention, which doesn't really serve you long term. So guys, understand that doing the opposite of what most people do is what's going to lead to most success in your life in general terms. So when you see everybody else working to make their life easier, more convenient, less frustrating, basically looking to cut all the hard things out of their life, look at the rest of their life. What is it? It's generally a shit show, okay? So that should be an indication to you that maybe you need to look at life a little bit different. And one of the things that I see people do is they don't understand that you should actually be seeking out the proper obstacles that are going to teach you the lesson and embrace them so that you can be better. Because, dude, we could talk about and whine about and cry about everything in our lives, but there's only one thing that's going to change it, and that's actually taking action towards the place that you want to go. And I don't care who says different. This is a universal truth, and it doesn't matter who's president, doesn't matter who's fucking won the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. This is always going to be true. What you put in will produce the output. Okay. So when you see a situation that's difficult and you see a situation that, other people don't want to do, you should maybe be the person who steps up to that and says, dude, I'm willing to do that because I learned this. I'm willing to take on that because I'm willing to get this skill. I'm going to endure this adversity because I know it's going to make me stronger. All right. So look at these as an opportunity for you to grow as opposed to something that you should run away from because it's going to be difficult. This is something that champions and successful people who are great at what they do and live great lives that bring other people up do automatically. Okay.
That talent apart, hard work actually works. And with virtually everything, it might not make you the best at whatever it is you're pursuing, but it will certainly make you better than you are. And so it's fascinating to see that destiny in some sense is built right into the person to begin with. And so, well, this was built into you by all appearances. And so it manifested itself in what attracted you even in play as a child. And that's the beginning of identity formulation, that play.
It's happening to people, maybe not everyone, but to a whole lot of people. Their commitment to success is weak. They want to succeed, they will take 3 steps, then something little interesting happens here, they will go away here, they'll go away there, they'll go away there. Hey, I want to live, huh? Their commitment to success is weak. Either situations around them in some way, situations can impede you from doing what you're doing very easily. Many times it happens to everyone. But when this happens, people weaken their commitment for their success. Maybe physically, they'll feel a little weak. They will weaken their commitment to success. Maybe their emotions slosh around a little bit. They will weaken their commitment to success. This is very important right now. However long it takes, this virus, you must come out of this successfully. That means you must stay alive, that's an important part. And commitment to staying alive should not be slackened, no matter what happened. Somebody very dear to us passed away, all the more important we must live. People around us are all sick, all the more important we are healthy to take care of the people around us. So our commitment to success should not weaken because there is social drama going on or physiological drama or psychological drama, whatever happens, your commitment to success should not weaken. That is what gets you across so many lines in our life, so many barriers in our life. So, what does success look like? What does it take? You must understand, those who made any significant achievements in their life, they did not you know. I don't want to take any personal examples of anybody. I'm trying to avoid obvious things that are coming to my mind. Well, you know, I know family and friends who always have their breakfast on time. And after breakfast, of course, they must have coffee. After coffee, of course, they must light up a cigarette and sit there nicely because they're trying to become peaceful. And then they will go to work, come back home exactly on time for lunch, eat lunch, rest for 1 or 2 hours, sleep, then evening have one tea and then smoke, and then again go to work. And 8 o'clock, 8:30, they're back home for dinner and then maybe other things, drink and this and that and whatever. Well, that's their priority. It's fine, I'm not complaining, it should not be that way. But those who have been very successful, either in music, sport, art, business, spiritual process, doesn't matter what, those people never know when they ate, when they slept, when they got afternoon rest. I've not seen such a thing in my life. So, those who are committed to being successful with whatever they're doing, one important aspect of their life is they're not settling down wherever it's a bit comfortable.
The enlightened person is traveling on a bus, and I used to travel a lot on Greyhound buses in the past in the States. And often you wonder, but at the next stop, who is going to the next person going to sit next to you? It could be somebody pleasant, or it could be somebody drunk, or it could be somebody who talks continuously. So the enlightened person is sitting there, somebody comes in at the next stop, and he's talking and talking and getting out his beer and drinking and getting more and more drunk, and then starts bothering you. But there's a seat over there that's free. Does the enlightened person say, I'm enlightened, therefore I'm not going to change seats, because what is the need to change my life situation? I'm at peace already. It is true that deep down there is the peace, but on the outer levels, certain situations are preferable to other situations, and one seat may be preferable to another seat. And so it happened once or twice that I did that. I changed seats on the Greyhound bus so to get away from somebody next to me. But if the bus is full, then what do? You can't change seats, then you stay and be at peace with where you are, which is perfectly possible. So the changes can take place on the surface of your life. There may be one place where you would rather live than the other place, or you would rather travel to this location than to that one. That's all on the surface of your life. There are certain choices, and you make certain choices. If there is no choice, you're perfectly fine with there being no choice. The peace is there anyway. And on the outer levels, some things are more pleasant than others, and then I would choose the more pleasant one, but perhaps St. Francis would have chosen the unpleasant one. Maybe that's our difference. And maybe that's the difference between medieval spirituality and this. There's not one is better than the other, it's just different. But what matters is that at the core, the peace is there. And so I believe everybody, even the Buddha, must have made certain choices. He chose to go to that particular garden. Somebody had given him a pleasure garden, so he moved himself from the forest into the pleasure garden. Why did you go from the forest to the pleasure garden? Wasn't the forest good enough for you? Says the eagle. No, it's just on the surface. That seemed to make more sense and was more suitable and he moved himself there, he would have been equally happy with the rest of his life in the forest. So that's quite simply how it is. So you're perfectly capable still of changing your life situation. If change is called for, why not?
When you're in peace, you're showing God that you trust Him. Anyone can stay in faith when everything's going our way. The test comes when the contract doesn't go through, when your child is off course, when the medical report is not good. It's easy to let the clutter in. No, be still. That's the time to show God that you trust Him, not just with your words, but with your actions. See, the enemy's main target is our mind. That's the control center for our life. If he can keep it cluttered, filled with doubt, what if it doesn't work out, Joel? What if my health doesn't improve? What if I don't meet the right person? As long as our mind is cluttered, it keeps God from turning it around. God works where there's faith. 2 Chronicles 32, the king of Syria had a huge army. They had invaded that whole region, conquering all these large fortified cities by tearing down the walls and capturing the people. The city of Jerusalem was next in line. Word quickly spread throughout the Israelite camp. The people began to panic, so worried, thinking, what are we going to do? They're so much bigger than us. King Hezekiah said to the Israelites in verse 7, don't be afraid of this mighty army, for there is a power far greater on our side. They may have a great army, but they are just men. We have the Lord our God to fight our battles for us. When you face big enemies, big oppositions, you have to remind yourself our God is bigger than the cancer. He's bigger than the addiction. He's bigger than the people that are trying to stop you. The way to stay in faith is don't talk about how big the problem is, talk about how big your God is. He flung stars into space. He spoke worlds into existence. He healed my mother of terminal cancer. He gave us the Compact Center. The good news is, right now, He's breathing in your direction. He's pushing back forces of darkness. He's lining up the brakes that you need. Don't let fear clutter your mind. Don't let doubt keep you from your miracle. Don't let people talk you out of your dreams. The king of Syria sent a letter to the Israelites threatening them. It said, we've conquered all these cities. We've captured all these people. None of their gods saved them. What makes you think your God is going to save you? The enemy will always try to defeat you first in your thoughts. Things like you'll never get well. Your grandmother died of the same thing. You'll never break the addiction. That problem will never turn around. Don't believe those lies. He wouldn't be telling you that unless he knew it was on the way. Do like Hezekiah. Yes, this problem may be big, but I know a secret. My God is much bigger.